This is the Angels Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game right here on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever the heck you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, spent 4 years covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin, and now in year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Our team is the Angels, and the Angels, right after a pretty impressive, pretty exciting win yesterday, returned to infuriating, frustrating losses in a game that had some highs. Certainly the offense with multiple home runs, a 3-hit game for Mike Trout, but it did not matter because a 4-0 lead turned into a collapse and a 7-5 loss at the hands of the Cleveland Guardians in game 2 of this series in Cleveland. Before we jump into this one, shout out to everybody in here. Obviously had some tech issues there, so appreciate the patience there for anyone in here live. Yes, I am back in the Bay Area right now, and obviously was not able to do the last couple of shows. So excited to be back here with you guys. And someone was saying it earlier before I went live. Gavin comes back, and so does the losing for the Angels. Unfortunately, that seems to be the case because, again, it was a really good win yesterday to start the series off against a good Cleveland Guardians team with a win. You have an opportunity today to earn that series win right away and set up a sweep possibility, but instead, a 4-0 lead is just absolutely – it just vanishes because of a combination of pretty bad pitching and pretty horrendous defense. I mean, Kyle Hendricks was not great in this one at all, gives up 4 earned runs on 7 hits, 2 home runs given up by him. This was a home run derby. That's what this game was, because the Angels, they hit 3 home runs. You had Moncada and Ward go back-to-back, and then you did have Adell with a huge 2-run shot that made it 4-0 in the top of the first inning. But then here came the Guardians, right? They got J-Ram, Jose Ramirez, always kills us. He hit his 10th home run in the 5th inning, and that was just one of 3 home runs for the Guardians, as well as Kwan had a home run in the 5th, and Santana had a huge one in the 7th inning off of Zeferjahn. But multiple frustrating plays by the Angels in the field. And that's where we're going to start today. We could talk about, turning points in terms of you go from up 4-0 to giving up 7 runs and losing the game. But there was multiple innings where things went wrong. So it's not a turning point. We're not talking about the player of the game. We have to talk about the defense.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Yeah, it has to be the defense. 2 errors today and 2 very costly errors. Just embarrassing Angels defense, man. And what was a chaotic game as well, right? Not only were there home runs everywhere, it was ironic. There was home runs everywhere, and yet, there's base runners everywhere in this game. We had Kyle Hendricks giving up at least a hit about every inning, intentionally walking a bunch of guys, hitting batters, and then there's guys reaching via the air. The Angels had a couple guys get on via base hits, via walks, via everything, and yet it seemed like both teams were just relying on a bunch of home runs to actually drive in runs. That was until the bottom of the 4th inning. At this point, it's 4-0 Angels. And so this really is the turning point mixed with what I'm talking about. It's the defense, and it starts in the bottom of the 4th inning where there's 1 on, 2 out, and Nolan Jones hits a triple. A triple is what we're calling it. But if you watch that this ball game, this should have been a base hit. I mean, it's a line drive into right field, and Jorge Soler makes an absolute fool of himself. And so I have to start by saying Jorge Soler is lucky he had a great game yesterday at the plate, because if he was still, and he still is hitting, sub 230, and it has not been a great offensive season for him. We know he's an offense-only type of player, but for him to have the game yesterday that he had, thank God he did, because If not, I would have been calling for him to just get benched after what we saw on this play here. Should have been a base hit. He acts like he's going to make a diving attempt, but he never had a shot. It almost looked like his brain told him he was diving. And so he dove, and it was too late for him to change his mind, and he just didn't even try to like not dive or to stop the ball while diving. So he just dives past the ball, completely misses it, just lays on the ground in disbelief, allows what should be a Nolan Jones RBI, or really should just be a Nolan Jones base hit to make it first and second, becomes a triple where Arias is able to score. The best part is then our best player, Zach Neto, throws one into the dirt while Jones is sliding into third. The ball scurries away into the outfield, and Jones scores on a Little League home run. So a Little League inside the park home run. Fun Alex in here saying, I'm not too sure why Neto threw it. Yeah, it did not look like he was going to get him. Some frustration there. Certainly, I would understand why you would be frustrated after watching what Jorge Soler did in right field. But, I mean, Kyle Hendricks was not great, but his stat line could have looked a whole lot better if it wasn't for this, right? I mean, this was the turning point. This was everything here because the Guardians scored 2 runs on one swing that should not have scored any runs. And so do I think Kyle Hendricks leaves this inning unscathed? I don't know. It would have been first and second, 2 outs. Steven Kwan did end up getting a base hit in the next at-bat. So maybe they would have scored a run anyways. But I'd say worst case scenario, it's 4-1 after the 4th inning, not 4-2 with an infuriating mistake right there. And so there's somehow there's only one error on that play, the throwing error from Zach Neto. Jorge Soler should get something. They need to invent a stat to give Jorge Soler because that was ridiculous from him. But it wasn't the only mistake from this Angels defense, and that's what's so frustrating. I mean, there were a couple balls in this game that were hitting the gaps that maybe could have been played better, but that wasn't even the only error of the ball game as well. The Angels had 2 errors in this game to combine with a bad pitching performance from both Kyle Hendricks and the bullpen, specifically Ryan Zeferjahn. So that's what was frustrating. Obviously, the first error didn't matter on a throwing error from Yoan Moncada in the bottom of the 1st inning. The Guardians weren't able to score, but the first bat of the game for the Guardians, there's an error. It set the tone for a bunch of errors, or for multiple errors in this one, a bunch of bad plays in this one, and a game where Kyle Hendricks didn't have his best stuff. He needed his best stuff from his defense, and he didn't get it. So frustrating there. They're able to pick up 2 runs in the 4th, and then it was a home run barrage from there. They got the solo shots from Jose Ramirez in the 5th, the solo shot from Steven Kwan, and then they had the Carlos Santana bomb in the bottom of the 7th that really turn this game around, because at that point it's still 5-4 Angels. Obviously, Zeferjahn coming in to replace Hector Neris, who was able to have, who did give up the home run to Steven Kwan, but other than that was okay. And unfortunately, that home run from Carlos Santana really just opened up the floodgates, because he ties it at 5 with a deep shot there, and then things just collapse for Zeferjahn. Schneemann, he gets a base hit. He steals second. Bo Naylor walks. And then with first and second, Gabriel Arias again with another big-time play. This time it's a line drive double, and both Schneemann and Bo Naylor score. And so what was still a 5-4 Angels lead going into the 7th, with Zeferjahn coming into the game, becomes a 7-5 Angels deficit, Guardians lead, and that was all she wrote. Unfortunately, the Angels are great at scoring runs in the 9th inning, but they didn't have it in them today. A quick 1-2-3 inning against a great closer in Emmanuel Clase, but I'm not going to be critical of the offense. They played good enough to win. They ironically left a lot of runs on the board, at the table. They had a lot of runners in scoring position that they were not able to hit in, left quite a few guys on base, really were only able to score via the home run ball. But I don't want to spend this show being critical of the offense. It did enough. But Kyle Hendricks, the final stat line for him, 5 2/3, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks, and those 2 home runs. Hector Neris just made 1 out, and then Zeferjahn comes in, and he was bad. 3 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk. Of course, the home run against Santana. He gets the L, and it's considered a blown save for him. His ERA is up at 5.23. Neris's ERA is 10.57. Kyle Hendricks' ERA goes up to 5.34. Brogdon's able to actually come in and eat up 4 outs, only giving up 1 hit. That was a good sign because we know how much he struggled. But at the end of the day, the pitching wasn't good. The defense was really bad. And a 4-0 lead is absolutely thrown away when it should not have been. That Jorge Soler mistake, compounded by Zach Neto's mistake, really the turning point, really the main talking point in terms of horrible defense costing the Angels in this one. When we come back from our break, we will talk about the offense because certainly some bright spots here. Anytime you don't have 10 strikeouts, it's a good sign for the Angels, but they did a lot at the plate in this one in a loss. We'll talk about that after our break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action, especially with Knicks-Pacers tonight, Game 6. That'll be exciting. FanDuel, it really makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. I can't right now work for an NBA team, but when I was not working for an NBA team and was sports betting and was in a state where it was legal on a couple trips, whether it was in New York or other states, Michigan, yada, yada, yada. FanDuel, it was great. The interface is great. It's quick responsive, which is great for live betting as well. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. So make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back here live on a losing edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Angels blow a 4-0 lead and waste a pretty solid performance from the offense in a 7-5 loss to the Cleveland Guardians on Saturday daytime. A frustrating one. We already talked about it. The Jorge Soler mistake in right field. What should be a single becomes a triple. And then what even then should have just been a triple, compounded by another error. This one from Zach Neto, second error of the ball game. Jorge Soler's mistake should have been considered an error as well, in my opinion. That was a 2-run inside the park, little league home run type thing on what was, officially a triple with an error. That turned a 4-0 lead into a 4-2 lead, and then the Guardians kept chipping away before a huge 3-run inning off of Zeferjahn in the bottom of the 7th steals a win for the Guardians. Let's be honest, they stole this one. And that is frustrating because the Angels offense was pretty good. I mean, 8 hits is nothing to go crazy about, but the Angels had the type of performance that they had earlier in the season, relying on the big fly. Multiple guys getting it done. And like I said earlier in the show, it started in the top of the 3rd inning with back-to-back home runs. It was annoying that Nolan Schanuel in that inning has a base hit. There's an error on Quan, and then Schanuel tries to go all the way to 3rd, gets thrown out. Unfortunately, that was a big play because the very next batter is Yoan Moncada, and he hits what would have been a 2-run shot, but still a solo shot from Moncada, hanging sweeper. He's continuing to go deep, now has 6 home runs since he's come back from the injured list. And then Taylor Ward goes back-to-back. He hit this one very deep to center field on a 3-2 pitch, 4-seam fastball, down and away. Not an easy pitch to turn on, but he hit it right back up the middle, and he hit it high and deep, 397 feet. That made it 2-0. But the Angels had more home runs in them in the top of the 4th after another Mike Trout hit, and we will get to Mike Trout. With Trout on first, Jo Adell goes first pitch swinging on a fastball right down the middle, and he crushed it. 111.4 exit velo, 410 feet. And I mean, there's no doubt about this one. A huge swing for him. Love seeing him slightly heating up. We know we need it because when we've got guys like Jorge Soler doing what they're doing in right field, when we've got guys like Mike Trout who knows when he'll be comfortable to field again, we need Jo Adell to swing the bat well because he's going to give you at least athleticism in the outfield. At times, he's going to give you an above-average glove and above-average arm, but a day like today, he has to play center field, right? When you have Ward, Trout, and Soler as the other outfield options, Adell's got to play center field, and he's got to justify being in the lineup, at least getting a hit or two. Well, his hit in this one, a huge 2-run shot, no Lugo, no Paris. There's a lot of pressure on Jo Adell right now. It's kind of crazy. It went from, hey, this guy is going to compete with 2 young guys in the outfield that are playing better than him. Not to mention before when there was a Mickey Moniak in the picture as well. And now it's, oh, Jo Adell is going to play every single day. No Paris, no Lugo. Trout not ready to play in the field yet. And so luckily he's able to respond to some of that pressure with a big swing here. He's still hitting just 212 on the year. The OPS is still 677 or 676, but hopefully he can get some confidence with that huge 2-run shot that he had in this one. That made it 4-0. The Angels made it 3 straight innings with a run when they scored in the 5th inning. So that was impressive as well. And it came from who should be, and darn, I'm still going to make him our Locked On Player of the Game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Am I cheating a little bit because it's Mike Trout and because I'm excited that he's back and playing well? Yes. Could it have been Steven Kwan, especially in a win, 3 for 5 with a home run? Yes. Could it have been Jose Ramirez or Santana or Arias, all with 2 hits and a couple RBIs? Yes. But Mike Trout was great in this one. 3 for 4 with an RBI double here and a run. And this was a huge swing in the top of the 5th inning after the Guardians got some momentum in the bottom of the 4th with that crazy 2-run play. For Trout to come up here after there's a Moncada single, a Ward walk, 1st and 2nd, 2 outs, big opportunity, but a lot of pressure. And a guy in Mike Trout who's been criticized for not coming through in clutch moments with runners in scoring position, he did just that. Got a 2-1 changeup, hanging a really bad pitch after he had just hung a changeup the pitch before, up and in for a strike. He does it again, but it catches the heart of the plate, and Trout turns on it, ripped it, 101.4 exit velo down the left field line, just barely stays fair. Would have been nice if that could have been a 2-run double, but the ball was hit so hard, there's no chance for Ward to try to score from first. Unfortunately, Ward does not get scored, or, does not get driven in himself, and ends up just being a 1-run inning. But shout out to Mike Trout. Feels good watching him play well. Obviously, just his 2nd game back, able to get a hit yesterday, and he has 3 today. So the average is still 200. He breaks 200, but the OPS is 747, despite the horrible average because of all the home runs he was hitting earlier in the year. And so we'll see if we like him in this 6th spot. I don't think it's going to last. I do kind of like it right now. I wouldn't be mad actually with just swapping him and Soler and having him hit 5th. I think that's what makes the most sense right now. The 1 through 4 has been playing very well. And I know Zach Neto is cooling down quite a bit, even a somewhat off day for Shanuel, but Moncada's heating up, and Taylor Ward, we know what he's been doing as of late. So I think that top 4 should remain. Neto, Shanuel, Moncada, Ward. I like it there. And then I think you just move Trout up 1 more spot, have him hitting 5th, Soler hitting 6th. Would love to have O'Hoppe back. Then it could be O'Hoppe hitting 6th and like Soler hitting 7th or something. That would be very nice. But I think the lineup is going to be okay. They showed some things in this one. Anytime it's a d'Arnaud game instead of an O'Hoppe game, there's going to be a little less offensive output. He was awful today. He being d'Arnaud, 0 for 4 with the 3 strikeouts, the hat trick there. But I think the lineup will be okay, right? And it's good to see Mike Trout back and playing well. Would love to have a confident Mike Trout in the month of June. We know he starts to play good baseball in the month of June every year, right? And so for him to come back on May 30th, right before the month of June, let's have a big June Angels offense, specifically Mike Trout and some of those other guys we mentioned. But we're going to wrap this one up. It is a loss for the Angels, 7-5. They blow a 4-0 lead. Very frustrating, but at the very least, some good signs from the offense, not at all from the defense. Ron Washington, man, you're a defensive coach. You're a fundamentals coach. When things like this happen, we're looking at you. Jorge Soler cannot do what he did in right field. Zach Neto cannot do what he did. Yoan Moncada cannot have a throwing error. And you can't, leave Kyle Hendricks out to dry as a manager too. I thought some of the decision-making there could have been better. So need to see better stuff from our manager tomorrow to try to get the win. Need to see better stuff from our defense to back up our pitchers, because we know the bullpen has been struggling. That's expected. But we need our starters to pitch well, and we need our freaking, our defense to show up and play well. So shout out to everybody in here. Appreciate you guys. As always, I'll be back here tomorrow. If you don't know the first pitch, it's an early one, 10:40 first pitch. So, expect me live, of course, whenever the game ends, probably around 1 p.m. So I'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. It'll be Jack Kohanowitz against Williams for the Guardians. Let's hope that Kohanowitz can have a good enough start. I'm anticipating more runs. Two guys with not very good ERAs. Kahanowitz 3-6 with a 5.07. Williams 4-3 with a 4.27. Let's see some runs. Let's just see more for the Angels than the Guardians tomorrow, and let's see some better play from our defense. We're gonna get a win. Excited to see you. Excited to have a postcast after a win tomorrow. Let's do it. Let's manifest it right now. But have a great rest of your Saturday. I don't know about you, where you guys are. I'm in the Bay Area, and the weather is phenomenal. I hope the weather is good for you guys, whether it's LA, Orange County, anything like that, wherever you are. Hope the weather's nice. Have a great rest of your Saturday. And I'll see you here tomorrow, pretty early, around 1 p.m., with that early first pitch tomorrow. Take care. Tough loss here tonight, but I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully after a win. Take care, guys, and go Angels.